You've agreed to general anesthesia or just been numb from a while down, what do you want done? My mom keeps getting an $80,000 bill for anesthesia that was like out of the network for Capital Blue Cross. $80,000. She's starting to get worried because it's like weekly now she's getting it. It's not for my dad. I said, well, just say he's dead, and there you go. That's the answer. But yeah, I said, don't pay it, Mom. I said, first of all, like she got a lot of crazy bills that a lot of them were taken care of, but because they were out of network, like why, my mom's like, well, shouldn't they tell you it's out of network? I was like, yeah, it wasn't like an emergent surgery, it was, that one was for his like bypasses, I think. $80,000. Like, how do you even begin to pay that?
Yeah. Do I just write you a check?
Yeah, it's funny because for some reason
And then they
my
sent
mom's
collections.
insurance would send her a
Really
check and then
strange.
she had to write checks. It was weird, like they'd send her a big check and she had to figure out how much everybody got. It was really crazy. But yeah, $80,000. 4 types of anesthesia. General, we'll go through all of them. General, regional, twilight, which is called something else. That I always call it twilight. General anesthesia, high risk, that this is the high risk for the fires because of the volatile agents involved, muscle relaxants, and a lot of complications. So the anesthetic gases are volatile, which means combustible. Nitrous oxide is generally used with different IVs that are given. Muscle relaxants are given. What do you think? So you have general anesthesia, which they're totally knocking you out with IV sedation, pain management, plus maybe something inhaled. What do you think some complications might be?
Respiratory.
Respiratory. So hypoxia, respiratory arrest maybe. Allergic reaction for any of them, yep.
Cardiac, definitely.
Cardiac dysfunction, hypo and hypertension, fluid electrolyte imbalances.
The aspiration too,
Yeah, that's why we're not feeding them. So it could be aspiration. Residual muscle paralysis, depending. I had a C-section 17 and a half years ago. 17 years ago. Because I'm a big girl, and I was a big girl then too, the anesthetist, it wasn't a nurse, so the anesthesiologist, gave me an epidural and just gave me a boatload of meds. That I had numb thighs until like my second post-op visit, like a month and a half later. I still had numb thighs, like I couldn't even feel it. So the residual muscle paralysis, I can get that. Neurological problems such as dementia, prolonged awakening, different paresthesias like numbness of the hands and feet could happen. And a big one, malignant hypothermia is a big complication. General anesthesia, reversible loss of consciousness is induced by inhibiting neuronal impulses in several areas of the CNS. Nausea, vomiting, allergic reactions, excitement, restlessness, all due to CNS involvement. With my C-section, I had hypotension and I threw up everywhere. I was afraid to poop during my during my vaginal birth, but it went to a C-section because I wouldn't progress. You know where I got that in nursing, 300, 400, 300, 400. But yeah, I vomited everywhere. My blood pressure was so low, I vomited. So methods, we have IV, is often combined with inhaled. unconscious within 30 seconds. The patient, they'll either ask the patient to start counting backwards from 10, or they'll start counting backwards from 10, and it's usually seconds before you're out. Inhalation therapy is easily controlled. We have an endotracheal tube. Respirations are controlled mechanically. This is what Mike was talking about with do not intubate. You're sort of intubating during the surgery, so it didn't make sense, but it's, you want to be extubated ASAP. Most commonly used for general anesthesia is the inhalation therapy, and used for major head, neck, chest, and upper abdomen cases. That's the inhalation of the mask here. That's it being intubated. So the anesthetist doesn't have the surgical gown that covers the arms on, just the, and some surgeons choose not to wear the gowns also, they just wear the short scrub. And I'm guessing it's because they're not, anyway, that can be sterile, the gown part. Do you ever see people with short sleeves?
Not this
No.
one. I see anesthesia like that, but not the surgeons.
Depends on how the patient is positioned, but like the CRNAs or the anesthesiologists, they have the or a sheet kind of like going like this, and they're laying supine, and they just control that. They don't have, they just have regular scrubs, maybe a little bit more.
Maybe it wasn't the surgeon's that. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Regional anesthesia, I have a picture coming up with, so there's spinal, epidural, caudal, and nerve. Spinal is directed into the spinal canal or intrathecal space surrounding the spinal cord, usually in the lower back. Epidural is into the epidural space in the lumbar or thoracic region. Caudal is in the caudal meaning tailbone all the way down into the sacral area is where you get the caudal anesthesia. There's something called a caudal canal there. And then a nerve block. The word block is not there, but a nerve block. Anesthetizing a nerve in an extremity to allow surgery in a specific area. So general's covering the entire body. Local is just the location of the pain or the location of the injury, location of the diseased body part. And then epidural or nerve block covers the affected limbs.
So if it was, if you do an epidural for like your arms? No, right? That would be higher up.
Arms would have to be like C-spine level, so
Yes.
probably
So
not,
that's
probably not.
I've only ever, well, I mean, it's like usually C-section, right? So it's like lower back, but.
Yeah, and they have epidural pain injections too, that are going to be at the site of the pain, or the site of the nerves, of the peripheral nervous system. Regional anesthesia briefly disrupts the sensory nerve impulse transmission from a specific body part or region. Motor function may or may not be affected depending on how much. Client remains conscious and aware of surroundings. So you really wouldn't want that for all surgeries. The person's still going to have their ability to answer simple commands. Patient's still going to have a gag reflex.
Is this what they call a
aspiration.
twilight?
Twilight's the next one.
Oh, sorry.
That's good. Nurse needs to be aware of the patient's ability to still hear sounds, smell smells, so that they need to be aware of that. So motor, sensory, and autonomic systems are affected And all three of those need to be returned in order for the anesthesia to be considered worn off. You have to have those motor, sensory, and autonomic function back. So regional anesthesia is considered an epidural, and basically shows you the epidural space is right beside the spinal column. So if you have that in the thoracic or lumbar area, you're going to be desensitized down to your toes. Epidurals, you inject a local anesthetic into the epidural space. The agent can float up to as high as the T4 area. Requires special consideration if the patient already is experiencing breathing problems. It differs from the spinal anesthesia because it's not entering the spinal cord, it's just an epidural space outside the spinal cord.
Now, is this underneath of like a live X-ray when they're going into like the epidural, or they?
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
I actually had that done, and I was actually prone,
Mm.
and then he just used a camera, and I could watch it, I was watching him do it. So-
No, that's what I'm saying. The camera. I mean, is it ultrasound or is
No,
it?
It was like almost like robotic, you could see like as he went in, and you could see like.
That's like a live X-ray then.
Yeah.
What are the live X-rays called?
I had my epidural in the room without any guidance, it was his hand.
Oh.
It's really tall African doctor with a really thick accent.
Hold on tight.
That shows you where it goes in the epidural, and the catheter is with the IV catheter that's injecting the medication. Hypotension, bradycardia, nausea, and vomiting are very common. With spinal anesthesia, you get something called a spinal headache, but epidurals, if it's in the right spot, you're not going to get that headache. Spinal anesthesia is also called intrathecal block.
Or nerve block.
Common for lower abdominal or pelvic surgery. This gets the autonomic, sensory, and motor nervous systems again. Big thing with the spinal anesthesia is make sure the patient's very hydrated. They're lying flat. You want a quiet environment for them too. Because it's just going to produce anesthesia in the lower extremities and below the belly. Common to have a headache. Let's go into the spinal column. Regional anesthesia, also called peripheral nerve blocks. A field block is a series of injections administered around the operative site. So they're going to be anesthetized around the operative site. You can have like a brachial plexus block that's going to block the whole arm. Vertebral blocks that block the chest, abdominal wall, and extremities. Sacral blocks or caudal blocks that block the perineum and sometimes lower abdomen, so for abdominal surgeries and like vaginal surgeries.
Do they use this for like some type of pain management too at all? No.
No, because it's not gonna be long-term. Pain management will go into the, like the epidural space or the spinal column. And dependent on what, whether it's a corticosteroid or, an analgesic, a narcotic, or both, that would be longer term. You know, corticosteroids is the longer term in terms of inflammation of the area. But this is just, anesthetizing the area temporarily for the surgery to happen. So local anesthetics, amides and esters. Amides are lidocaine and bupivacaine are the two that are normally used. Lidocaine's a rapid onset, bupivacaine is the other kind, which is a slow onset.
Is it Vupa?
Bupivacaine.
Bupivacaine. Bupivacaine. Just knowing that they're amides, I think, is sufficient. I don't think I'll get a specific question. Say that again? Bupivacaine?
Bupivacaine. Sure.
Both drugs may be mixed with epinephrine because they're vasoconstrictors to help control bleeding at the procedural site. And epinephrine makes the drugs last longer too. Esters, any idea what an ester is?
Like a,
Someone's grandmother.
Oh, ether.
yeah, no, mine's not the same.
It's not the same, but esters are like cocaine. Usually, in nasal surgeries, because it's vasoconstrictive. Hypertension and tachycardia are very common with cocaine. Cocaine doesn't last very long as an anesthetic, but hopefully it is a surgery is fast. Can't imagine having an anesthetic wear off from a surgery. You hear that happening. Can't imagine. So the last type we're talking about, I think that's right. I'm just gonna finish this type of anesthesia, I think, and then we'll go on. Then we'll go to test. This is conscious sedation, monitored anesthesia care. It's also called MAC. Patient has increased level of consciousness, maintains a patent airway, responds to commands, verbal commands, and physical stimulation. Some degree of amnesia, not totally. Minimal variation in vital signs. Quick and safe return to ADLs because they're just consciously sedated. They're still with it during it. So it's usually an IV. It's IV in case they need to be knocked out more, so then they can give them general fast, fast, because they have the IV started and there's already something infusing in it. All right, that's a good place to stop, and we'll finish this and post-op on Thursday.